And welcome back to Banjo Kazooie with me, Matthew Caddis, aka Puggy. So, before I actually get into my preparations for the final battle against Gruntilda, I am going to revisit Click Clock Wood, because there are a couple of Jiggies I want to get. The only problem I have with this is that there are some Jiggies that I did get when I recorded the Xbox 360 version that I got a bit later when I recorded the Nintendo Switch version. So yeah, so I apologize if this is already in my Let's Play, but I don't remember ever getting this with the B in Click Clock Wood, so I think I'm safe here. So that being said, this next Jiggy that I'm about to get can only be retrieved in spring and winter, because of course the B is only accessible then in spring, and the only other time you can fly is in winter, of course. So yeah, and seemingly the bee can get on top of the flower, which sadly you can't get the Jiggy here, even though it's fully grown now, thanks to, again, a ground-pounding Gobi. Seriously, what an abusive friend you are, Banjo. Or at least Kazooie might be. I'm not sure about Banjo. Banjo might be a bit too thick for that, but never mind, I digress. I'm going to head, once I've finished pausing the game, up to the very top of the tree. And yes, you can go even higher than the room with those whip cracks that I went to in spring. But we'll get to that in a moment. Other thing to note about the bee transformation, which I may not have gone over earlier, is that you can actually jump on these enemies known as the snare bears. Yes, because if you were doing it with Banjo, the only way to save his ass there would be to use the Wonder Wing technique. In winter, this plant would be actually dead. It would be too cold for it to survive, but in spring, oh boy, no, it is fully grown and will snap at Banjo unless he uses the Wonder Wing technique. And I also have a plentiful supply of golden feathers in order to get onto the snare bear there. The only other thing I am going to get here in Click Clock Wood is, of course, the Jinjos. And given, like, a lot of things in Click Clock Wood, they are scattered around the different seasons. So yeah, so I will go firstly through spring. Thankfully, I have, with the bee transformations, it's pretty easy to actually navigate Click Clock Wood. Seriously. So where I want to go now is towards the Zubber Hive, and indeed retrieve the Jinjo there. But before then, there's that green Jinjo that's standing on the snare bear there, and the other one's inside the Zubber's Hive, as I mentioned. However, you cannot ground pound with the bee, I'm afraid. Oh no, what you'll have to do is actually just make him go over to a certain part of the Zubber's Hive. So indeed, we'll do that. I'm going to move very serenely through the air, as serenely as I can, with a giant bumblebee with a backpack, which may or may not be containing a Breagle. So, that being said, firstly I want to land on top of the hive, then make my way towards the other side where there's a Mumbo token. Again, I was actually trying to find enough Mumbo tokens to get the transformation. You need 25 Mumbo tokens for him to transform you into the bee, and that will only be available in spring. Or the other seasons, he's either busy spring cleaning, is busy lounging in summer. He's sweeping up the leaves in autumn, and yeah. But before I go on, there's the pink Jinjo at the other end of the hive. The Zubbers don't even give a damn about another bee coming in there, seemingly. And then you just go back out the way you came in. So yeah, fairly easy Jinjo if you know the thing. But yes, it costs 25 things. And what happens in winter? Mumbo actually goes on holiday because he doesn't like the cold. And is replaced by a honeycomb and a hive enemy. But without the annoying bees there. Well, we are one here. quite bigger than the ones that attack us, but yeah, we usually get a fair few honeycombs from that. Anyway, that being said, I am going to leave Spring, although we will be revisiting the bee transformation towards the end of this episode, because there's the Witch Switch Jiggy. Now, I will go over where the Witch Switch is is located in winter. I'll say that for now. It's located in winter. So the next area we'll go to is either, I think, summer or autumn. Let's see where I go then. So over there is winter. Maybe I'll go to winter next, I don't know. It's just a bit annoying to do winter next when I'm already controlling a giant bee, but I guess I am going to winter then. Yeah, say goodbye to the giant bee transformation there, Banjo. Mumbo's magic does not work between seasons, it seems. Although having said that, I'll say this about the winter thing. At least you have the flight pad, as long as you have enough red feathers, of course. More on that a bit later, because I do want to get something that I think I did visit in the Xbox 360 version, because I am talking about Cheeto, of course. But I'm going to put his cheats to good use, and I'll go over that a bit later. Like I said previously, you will need all but 2 Jiggies to unlock the full things you need. You don't necessarily need all of the notes, but it does help. Seriously. So that being said, where I'm heading now is towards Mumbo's skull again, and this is where I get killed by a bunch of annoying ice cubes. Seriously, what they do to me. Seriously. Get up the hill and then go into Mumbo's skull, and indeed there's the enemy, but yeah, no Jinjo in there. So where the hell is the Jinjo? You'd think it'd be a bit further. Well, anyway, there's a flight pad right outside thing. It will be replaced by a bunch of thing, but there's the blue Jinjo. It's on top of Mumbo's skull. You may well need to use the fly pad to reach him, though. So yeah. Okay, on to the next one, unless there's another one in winter. Autumn, where we will find it on the left-hand side of the plant we grew with Gobi. Seriously. So that leaves the yellow Jinjo, which seemingly is in the summer. Oh yes. So that means we'll have to get through here. By the way, I did get all the dare I say, notes. Yes, you do have to get all of the notes if you're going to unlock the upgrades for Banjo. Although, getting all but 2 of the Jiggies is a nice one. It's not necessary, but it does help against Gruntilda if you're fighting against her and everything. So, yeah. But I'll get to that a bit later. For now, I'm going to go through here and then head back out. Another Mumbo token over there on that snare there. Though you'll need to use the Wonder Wing to get past that one. So back out we go. Absolutely. And then we will go over to Summer. And indeed find the Jinjo in there. And yeah, there are 2 hives there, but they are the ones that are surrounded by bees. Yeah, very annoying, but never mind. So, where is the next one? Well, it's actually not far from the entrance. You go away, Robin Hood, seriously. I'm supposed to be giving to the poor, mate. Seriously. Anyway, that being said, let's look through the grass, because that is where the last Jinjo, the yellow Jinjo, is for Click-Clock-Wood. Yes. And isn't it immediately obvious where you'll find him? Until you hear him whistling and everything, and whatnot. So yeah, he's actually in this corner here, to the right of the entrance. So yeah, that's all of the Jinjos in Click-Clock-Wood. So we'll go over to where I indeed do the next bit, which is to get the Witch Switch Jiggy. By the way, the Witch Switch itself is located on a ledge in winter next to a slush, one of those annoying snowmen that throw snowballs at you. All you have to do is beat bomb him, just like in Freeze Easy Peak. Anyway, with the bee transformation in hand, what we can do is go back outside to the hub world and use the bee to reach a high ledge up here. Once you power the Witch Switch, and get the Jiggy that way. Seriously. Fairly easy Jiggy to get, actually, all things considered. But there we go. Anyway, I'll see you on the next one, where I will, I think, talk about Cheeto. So I'll do it then. So I'll see you then. Goodbye!